Welcome to I Believe. Reba Rambo is here with me today. Now, share this. You don't want to miss this. We're going to teach you how to write a song right now. Right now. So share this with somebody, or we're going to teach you how to flow creatively. Maybe you're not a songwriter, or you don't want to be a songwriter, but you want to be a better book writer or a better article writer. Well, a better letter writer.
Yes.
This is your chance.
Yes. And you know what? When Moses was dying, what did God say do? You remember? One of the things he said, write a song. Because
that's right.
When you write a song, because the children of Israel, they've been on this 40-year journey, but they're going to forget. How many times has your pastor preached a great sermon, and a month later you go, man, that was an awesome sermon.
A month later? What about walking out the door? Man, that was an awesome service. What a great word. What was it?
But if you can take the essence of a sermon or an experience and reduce the sauce down to a 3.5-minute song. Songwriting is one of the most difficult forms, I believe, of art, because you can't have one wasted word.
To me, it's the most precise writing.
Precise, absolutely.
It's the most precise writing. You have to match it with meter, with rhythm, with rhyming, and you gotta, like you said, what did you call it when you
reduce the sauce?
Yeah.
Yes. But one of the things that we have to understand is that there's the gifting of writing that we need to develop. Jesus said everything in the kingdom says a seed. Everything. So probably the first few songs you write, are not going to be great, but you're going to be learning. Just like when you sat down to learn the piano as a young boy, your first song was not Rachmaninoff. It was probably Mary Had a Little Lamb, and you probably missed a few notes.
Traffic stop, traffic go, or opposite of that. Traffic cop.
Yeah, but writing, if you give yourself to the discipline of it and over to Holy Spirit, but there are things that we can teach you to shave off some of the years. But one of the things I want to encourage you is the sound that comes from your house, from your church, your pastor. If you will begin to say, God, give me creative ideas and ways to help the people remember what he said, help me remember what he said, and begin to write. We got thrown into those deep waters. Our pastor years ago got up and preached a sermon, and he said, next week they're going to come up and they're going to sing the song from this sermon. And I'm going, we're going to do what? But the world, world knows that if you put a melody to something, why do we sing commercials? I am stuck on Band-Aid brand because Band-Aid stuck on me.
My baloney has a first name. It's OSCAR.
But the same way that we get things deep in our spirit when we sing them over and over, and it's the power of mixed languages, because it's not just spoken word, it is the melody, it is the chord, it is all the instruments coming together. There is a synergetic thing that happens in music that doesn't happen.
You remember the other day we were walking, and remember I was singing, we're not black or white, we're not bond or free.
Yes.
And I knew every lyric and every word to that song that you wrote probably in 1982, 83. And because your pastor said he preached a sermon on a people who were not, and he told you all to have the song ready by the next Sunday.
Yes.
And here I am singing it 40 years later.
But see, that's the power of a song. That you can, sometimes have you ever got a song that you can't quit singing, What's that song, the never-ending song, or this is a song that does not end?
Oh, I was in Walmart, and this big old lumberjack-looking man was walking around singing, I love you, you love me, we're a happy family.
Yeah, a song is a sneaky thing. And I believe that's one reason God uses it so much, because it can sneak in people's heart. They don't even realize it. And truth can sneak in. A pastor sometimes has problems just continuing to preach about a certain topic. But if you get the music, if the trumpeters, that's symbolic of the prophetic word, and the singers are one, if they make one sound to be heard, and what he's saying and what you're singing and what you're painting and what you're dancing, if you have that in your church, whatever.
The glory didn't come till they did that.
It did not.
The glory didn't come till they did that.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to have one sound. It's so important for a worship team. And I just felt the Holy Ghost jump in me. for the worship team to speak life over one another, to not be a weapon formed against each other. We don't have to agree upon everything, but find the agreeable factor. I'm sure if we talk long enough, that there are things you and I may not agree on exactly, maybe. But there are so many agreeable factors. There's so many things. We agree on Jesus. We agree on loving the world and loving people as God has loved us. Find the agreeable factor.
Ellen, bring me a couple of pieces of copy paper, please.
Yeah, and so whenever we speak life, that is the language of God, the language of love, the language of hope, the language of patience, the language of kindness. Whenever we, if I'm speaking against Mary Jane, that's the bride of Christ. If I'm speaking against Mary Jane, I'm speaking against the very bride of Christ.
That's right. Now, your mother is Dottie Rambo. Mm-hmm. She's in heaven.
She's in heaven.
Dottie Rambo. Mm-hmm. I mean, Elvis did her songs. Dolly Parton did her songs. Whitney Houston did her songs. Yes. All of us did her songs. We shall behold him. I go to the rock. Mm-hmm. I will glory in the cross. Behold the Lamb. Mm-hmm. All that. Mm-hmm. So you grew up with creativity around you.
It was encouraged. Mother she'd get her guitar out and she'd sing, oh, I'm down at the seashore and there's lots of love in the waves. And then she'd look at me and that it was, the battery's low on this.
Oh. There we go. Sorry about that.
Okay. And she would point to me, or at night she would tell me a story. She'd start, in the land of snowbirds and icicles. Blah, blah, blah. And she'd start and then she'd point to me. And so what she was doing, she was teaching me to write without, this is when I'm 2 and 3 years old. I did the same thing with my children, teaching them how to write story, how to write song, just by the doing of it.
Were you always encouraged through your childhood to write? Did anybody ever come against you?
Oh, yeah. And writing and singing. I've been told I sound like somebody calling hogs when I sing. One lady, very mean, said that in a full lobby after a concert. You sound just like somebody calling hogs. And my friend Judy said, well, it must have worked because you came running.
So,
I didn't. What I said was, I'm from, thank you, I said, because I'm from Kentucky and we have contests for calling hogs. We get prizes for it and everything.
Not everybody grew up with Dottie Rambo as their mom.
No.
And even if you did grow up with Dottie Rambo as your mom, there is a sabotage that comes. There is something about songwriting. There is something about creative writing. Mm-hmm. There is something about designing your home. There's something about cooking an extravagant meal that may be frightening to you. There's something about the creative arts that frightens people. And I'm telling you, there is a sabotage that will come against you. It's talking about how someone, I'm a singer. That's not my best gift. It's not my first gift, but I am a singer. And I remember a well-known preacher told me one time, and I was married, told me, you cannot sing. When you sing, you are humiliating yourself every time you sing. Your wife can sing. You need to let her sing, and you need to keep on just writing the songs and let her sing, because you're humiliating yourself every time you sing. And my eyes are huge. I value this person. Yeah. And then he said, everyone has an opinion,
right.
Then he said, when you sing, it sounds like you're singing in a can. Well, you know what? It so affected me that I could no longer even do a verse. I had Shelley do all the verses, my ex-wife.
Yeah.
In the 90s, I had her do all the verses, and when it came time for me to sing a line or a verse, I couldn't even look at anybody. I was so my confidence was taken away, and then she left. And I went to sing a song at a church, a big church in Dallas, and a 19-week revival broke out with me preaching and singing every night. And I went on to record. I've sold, since that man told me that, I've sold 200,000 CDs.
Well, you know
And
what?
I'm not the best singer.
And the sabotage is real. I remember because I'm from Walnut Grove, Kentucky, population 36. And my dad used to say we were so poor, poor people called us poor. But Mother always made me cute little dresses and things. And we moved when I was in the 3rd grade. We moved in December to a large city. And I remember my first day of school, Mother made me like off of a Martha miniature pattern, one of those dresses with cans, and I had a bow about this big in my hair and little black patent leather Mary Janes, and went to the school. And it was like, I don't know how I got there, but all the kids we were right across the track, and so I still was in the rich kids zone, I guess. And the girls all had on little wool skirts and little cute little sweaters. And here I am, you know, looking like Ellie Mae Clampett. And I remember looking around. It was one of the first days I thought, I'm not like everybody else. You know, you feel so different. Long story, went into an art class, and all we ever had was broken crayons and a few little printed off coloring things. But it was a for real art class at 3rd grade, and we had the things with the paper, the big, what do you call those things? Anyway. And then the teacher said,
rings?
Yeah, but it was like the big sign. And she said, now go get your palette. Well, I'm looking around everywhere for a patchwork quilt folded up, because everybody knows a palette is a patchwork quilt folded up. And so I saw the kids, they went and got these things and had all kinds of paints on them. We had all little apron-y things and even a little chapeau, smocks, yeah. So anyway, she said, children, today we're going to do a still life. And she brought out this fruit and a bowl with things, and I was in the back, because new kids are always in the back. And so I'm watching the other kids, and she said, you got 45 minutes to create a masterpiece. And she was frightening, that poor teacher. She had a slight mustache and had her hair up so tight in a bun that she looked oriental, you know, and corrective shoes. She didn't like me right away, I can tell you. But anyway, we started doing the still life. Bottom line is, after a while, I got so bored with that. So I thought, you know what, why don't I make some things with streamers and some angels, and how about polka dotted apples and pears with stars, and you know, now that would be encouraged. But by the time we finished, and she's turning all the little easels, that's the word I was looking for, easels around to show the pictures, and we're all applauding each other, you know, and mine was last. And when she turned around and saw it, I mean, I thought that bun was just going to pop out of her head. And she started screaming. She said, I knew you were trouble the first time I saw you. And she took a red marker and put a big red X across it and put F on it, like for failure. And so to this day, you know, my best friend, my sister Jeannie, is a great artist, but I will just freeze up on her. If she gets me in that art studio, I'll get my journal and I'll write. But she's tried to get me to paint several times, and it's still that thing of, you know, look at you. And see, we need to understand the sabotage is usually a real good sign of what our gift is. There's always a sabotage against your gift. So if you've really fought hard over something, that's a good sign. It may be your gift.
If you just made a commitment to Christ or renewed your commitment to Christ and you're a new believer, we have a phenomenal resource for you at no charge. Just go to jeffferguson.com, jeffferguson.com, and then click the new believer button. And we want to help you with some information for your new journey with the Lord. Welcome to the family of God. I'm so glad you joined us today on I Believe. If you want to become a part of our ministry family, just go to jeffferguson.com, jeffferguson.com, and fill out the information form there so we can be partners together in ministry. God bless you. We appreciate you so much.
I believe, yes, I believe.